Health and wellness are more than a destination. They are a process and a journey of personal choice. Come hear from people out in the field, doing the work, bringing health and wellness to many. Hello. Hi, Maartje. Nice to have you here. I welcome you. I want to just introduce you to our audience. Maartje is a holistic biological dentist, which we're so grateful to have you here. We know you do lectures and you're also an acupuncturist, which is really amazing. And you do ceramic implantation, which I think you're going to tell us about. So, for all of our viewers listening, I'm welcoming you. And I'm really grateful you're here. And I just want to start by asking you a little bit about your background and what brings you here, what brought you into this field. I mean, we all have our story, right? So I'm excited to hear from you.
Thank you very much for this invitation and this interview. I'm Maartje Brands. I'm living and working in Amsterdam. I've been a dentist now for 16, 17 years. I had my own health path with a lot of autoimmune diseases and bowel issues and used to the Western way of healthcare. And after a very big issue in my bowel system, I had irritable bowel syndrome and got worse, worse, worse. And after a lot of interventions and research, they told me, well, if you have a look at a good acupuncturist, maybe that will help. And that helped indeed a lot because I was ill for 7 years. And after a year, the acupuncturist got me whole and better again. So in that time, I became a dentist. I finished my dental school and started working as a normal dentist because I never knew biological dentistry was a thing. And for my own health, I heard a lot of, well, I see where your bowel is not good and I see what's going on with you, but we don't have any medication and we cannot help you. So you need to learn to live with this. And that sentence is why I built my own practice now this last year. So the first time when I was a dentist and I had a client with trigeminal neuralgic, and I needed to say, well, I see what you're having and I see where your pain is and what you...
Is that like a jaw problem just for the audience?
Yeah, it's really painful. Yeah, a jaw problem, nervous problem, nervous pain. So I said, I see what's going, but in my academy on university, I learned you need to learn to live with this. They said, but I hear that sentence so much to myself. I said, I don't want this. So I'm going to talk to my acupuncturist and see how it goes. So slightly, I took several cases to my acupuncturist, and I had in the other practice where I work, I had a cupboard, and on the inside of the cupboard, I had all papers, which tooth is which meridian, and how is emotion involved in dental work, and what kind of materials is affecting on the rest of your system, and if you get an illness in this tooth, what does it affect on the organ which is connected to the tooth? No, all those kinds of things. And I didn't do anything with it for 5 years, but just the knowledge of, oh, fine, you have diabetes and there's something wrong with your front teeth because it's the kidney meridian. I always explain it to my clients and they just said, oh, well, it's nice to know, it's fun or something like that. And then at one point I get in contact with a biological dentist and he wanted to leave and go to retirement and sell his practice to a friend of mine, and I got to work there. So I got to learn since a year of 10, 11, a lot of biological dentistry. Unfortunately, in the Netherlands, it's hard to learn. We're not a lot of them here. So I went a lot to Germany and Switzerland and learned to talk German, to talk to people like that. The schooling is way better over there. And slowly evolving and developing my own biological dentistry. But I was so curious about our Western health is changing their protocol every 5 years, and Chinese medicine is there for the same for the last 3,000 years. So I thought, okay, then I want to know. So I studied Chinese medicine and acupuncture, and then I start clearing out mouths. Well, I explain always to my clients what I do is I'm a normal dentist, the same as all dentists are. We are aware of how your mouth, and we want to keep your teeth in utmost function and condition. But the material we use, or the infection we leave, or the slow graded infections we leave because we learned it's not symptom giving, so it's okay, um, is really difficult how we treat as a biological dentist. So I'm a normal dentist, but I'm more aware of what's the effect of the mouth to the rest of the system and the other way around. So what's the system, what's the effect of the mouth? So my choose of materials is uh, really more precautious about what are we putting in the mouth, because it's there all day, every time. And is it healthy to leave a dead tooth in your system, or is your immune system not strong enough to handle it? So I always say it's not that easy. It's not one on one. So this is your solution. So a root canal is never good. That's not the case, unfortunately. That's why it's a little bit difficult. So I compare my work to immune functional uh, vision of dentistry, and your mouth is a whole of the rest of your body. So your body will be treated by doctors in the hospital, by your GP, but the mouth is just cut out, and well, the dentist does that. I always explain to my clients, well, everybody has their own bucket, their own immune system, and their immune system will be filled with three categories, three types of stressors, three types of what's annoying your system. So you have your functional stressor, that's when you have an accident, a scar, something like that. Then you have your emotional stressor. We can fill that in ourselves. Everybody, I think about taking care of somebody else, losing a loved one, divorce, financial stress, work stress. And then we have our chemical stressor. And that's, of course, if we eat McDonald's all day, drink alcohol, smoke, side effects of medication. But 75% of the layer of the chemical stressor is dental work. And that specific stressor is forgotten in the normal health system, unfortunately. So we as dentists are the ones who bring in the most chemical shit supplies in their body without a doctor even knowing.
So this is important what you're saying here. I just want to back up a bit. For all of you who don't know, so that's pretty powerful statement that much of the toxins, and that's what you're talking about, that will cause blockages and disease on a physical level, because there's all the other levels too, body, mind, and spirit, right? Because we aren't just body. But on a physical level, this is huge because if you're bringing in things, and we're going to get to that, what are those things that dentists bring into the body? I think that's important. But what I hear you saying is that the difference between a normal dentist and a biological dentist is that you're going to function, you're going to look at what toxicity comes in the body and try to minimize it. And you're going because you're going to be concerned with how that would affect the whole body. And also you're going to be concerned with maybe other things that we haven't even talked about. Well, you mentioned emotions, but maybe you're going to be talking about nutrition and stuff. So I'm curious how you feel about that. So can you explain a little bit like, so the immune system is very vulnerable here to toxicity. Obviously, that's what you're saying. So people are getting diseases and lowering their immune system because of all the blockages physically. So maybe it's good to talk about that. Like, what are those blockages?
Yeah, and that's why I always use this bucket as an explanation metaphor, because then it's easier to understand. Because in an immune system, it works like your immune system get a stressor which is really intense, and then your immune system shuts down or will be overflown, or the immune stressor, so the infection on your immune system is there for a really long time. And then at some point, your immune system said, well, I don't know anymore, so I'm going to leave it like this. Or your immune system is so low that a little bit of a stressor is blocking your immune system as well. So that's why I compare it to your buckets. So we know now the three stressors we have in the bucket. So the physical one, the emotional one, and the chemical one. And then we can see, but how big is the bucket? Is the bucket tiny? Then we cannot handle a lot of those stressors. Is the bucket big? Then we can handle some. So then your mouth is not, the chemical issues in your mouth is not a very important thing because your immune system is really good. But it's still, and that's what we forget, it's still a tiny trigger. So if it's there for a really long time, then at some point your bucket will say, I'm leak. I don't want to. Yeah. So, and the type of bucket, that's what you can handle by lifestyle. So you can say, I can make my bucket bigger by handling my parasympathetic and sympathetic state. So I'm allowing my body to shift from from sympathetic state. So your fight, flight, fight mode is your stress level to parasympathetic state. That's the really big one. I think that's the main issue in a lot of diseases. So we have a lot of stress. Stress like you breathe through your mouth. Then your system thinks, well, I breathe through my mouth, so I get a lot of oxygen, not in level to CO2. And your body thinks, oh, I'm stressed. So mouth breathing on its own put your body in your sympathetic state. But if you're in your sympathetic state, your body is always thinking there's a tiger behind this door. I need to run. I need to be aware. I need to look around all the time. And all your building stones, which you get through nutrition, good sleep, right breathing, will go to I need to react immediately. So it's in storage. It's not for recharging, making you stronger. That's the parasympathetic state. So only by breathing the right way, you can put your system from stress, but also from stress in parasympathetic state. And in your parasympathetic state, there's everything ready for recharge, rebuild, make your body stronger. So you see also people who are in stress are storage are a little bit more swollen than they when they are in rest and calm. So that's one point which is making you stress, but also chemical food or nutrition which is not healthy for you, can you put your body in stress? Emotional stress, like work, like function, can put your body in stress. And then your body is only putting your building stones to keep you alive to storage, to react immediately. So when you even shift to parasympathetic state, then only then you can make your body stronger and healing again. So you can imagine if your mouth is and your system is constant in stress, then you're still your body shows disease. So if you have cavities in your mouth, if you have periodontal diseases, so a gum disease, if you have inflammation in your mouth, that's a trigger to show you I'm not healthy. I'm not in my parasympathetic state. I'm not strong. So your body is showing you're not healthy. And then you need to find where is the cause. So that's why functional medicine, as you all do, is really good to see where is going wrong. Why is your body showing disease? And its body is showing disease because of your bucket is or too tiny and mostly filled, or it's big and it's filled way too much. So that's why we need to find the cause. And the trigger can be really big about your mouth. Is that a bit of hard expectation of what my work?
Yeah, I think it's very clear. Like we can't just get health. We have to work at it. Like we're in a world that's totally overstressed. Our sympathetic is always on, even if we're behind a computer. We're like, you know, and then we're eating things. We're eating things because we're emotional eating that it might not be good for us, drinking alcohol, like you mentioned, or whatever. So all of these things change that bucket. I love how you said that. So let's go a little bit further into some of the toxicity that a normal dentist would not even think about. And you might, so let's look at things like mercury or articane. Can you go into some of that?
Yeah. As a biological dentist, there are a few things which are really important for you. You want your mouth metal free. The reason why you want your mouth metal free is really simple because, as most of us learn in high school, how a battery works. A battery is two metal ions in one moist environment, and there's a current in between. And then metal ions is going in between. Of metal, we know that it makes a toxicity system into your body. And we have metal ions flowing around, and a cardiologist says, well, your heart is not good and you need your medication immediately, you need to put it under your tongue because then it works the fastest way into your system. So everything what's in here, everything what's in your mouth is immediately connected to the rest of your system. Even the cardiologist knows it. So the current of flowing around metal ions, and then we're talking about really heavy metals, that's mercury, cadmium, palladium, chrome, all those heavy metals are functional, a really good dental filling. So in moist environment, it keeps up your teeth work really good. Retainer, if you have a braces, nickel titanium, but you can have nickel in your earrings for more than 30 years anymore, but it's still in your mouth. That's a weird combination. So metal ions annoy your bowel system really bad. And if your bowel system is annoyed, then your papilla are flattened out. So you have way less surface to get out all the nutrition out of your food. So then you can eat really healthy, but your bowel system is annoyed. Then you talk about leaky gut, or you can give it any name you want, but your bowel system doesn't function really good. So it doesn't is not able to get out all the nutrition out of your food, which you're taking to keep you healthy.
Yeah, definitely. So like all those metal fillings we had when we were young, they don't do it anymore. Can you address that for our older audience? Because maybe they still have copper.
Yeah, you have a lot of patients still have them. I always say it's like there's a lot of bikes in Amsterdam, so you don't put your bike in the rain. You know for sure it's gonna get rusty.
Yes.
Yeah, galvanization. So you don't want it in your mouth. But when you need to remove it, you need to be really safe, really careful. You have the AIOMT. It's um, an American party, and they are really aware of how to handle all the toxicity in the materials in the dental work. And they have a protocol, smart choice protocol. You can easily find it online. How safely to remove your metals out of your mouth.
That's what a biological dentist does.
That's how it needs to be done everywhere, but that's indeed how a biological dentist removes mercury fillings or old metal out of your system.
I have a question. What if, unfortunately, you didn't get a biological dentist and they removed them years ago? Could you still get the metal out of your body?
So besides, I always said follow the smart choice protocol for the dentist. And then besides that, because even we are so precise cleaning out really carefully, there's always mercury is like a dam. So it's come flowing all over. So you need to take some green. The chlorophyll of a plant is the best of attaching metal and work it out of your system. So you can detox with spirulina or chlorella or something with the green of the green.
You take that every day. You take a little bit of that every
And you take it every day after 6 weeks, or you can help measure it with a functional medicine nutritionist or orthomolecular doctor to test how your height of metal still is in your body.
So these are things that are very important, this heavy metals to detox. That's a really helpful thing. What about fluoride or because doctors just put that in all the time, the fluoride, and they also put in this articaine, the articaine. I would love you to address those.
So there are a few materials you don't want to use in biological dentistry. You don't want to use in dentistry, is my opinion. But as a biological dentist, you don't use metal. You don't use BPA, bisphosphonate A. That's the thing what makes plastic movable. You don't want articaine in anesthesia. You said something else. Fluoride. The rinsing material of natrium hypochloride, the material where you rinse your mouth with. Those are all toxic material and you want them as less as possible into your system. Fluoride is an extra. I will do that in the end. First, so metal free, you understand now. BPA is in composite, in normal composite. There are composites which they are BPA free. Now we already know for more than 50 years you can have BPA in pacifiers or in plastic bottles, but it's still in composite, in fillings of normal dental.
And is that like a plastic, Marcia? Is that like a plastic? And we're overwhelmed with plastic in our bodies.
It's the component which making plastic a little bit moldy, movable, not that hard but soft. And what's there aware of, there's a lot of relation how your hormonal level is working with the BPA. So your estrogen level is out of order because of BPA in you drink out of plastics or in your fillings. So that's the second one, metal free, BPA free. Metal free is also the retainers, the nickel.
That those are you should take them out, in other words. But not what you're talking about is the metal ones particularly.
Yeah, now you have also slowly some ceramics, some peak retainers. So then you have a metal free, or you wear your retainers on and off to keep your mouth as they put it in orthodontic braces. Um, in the anesthesia, you have uh, adrenaline and your anesthesia liquid, and then sometimes they put articaine in there. And articaine is adrenaline is own body system, so that's easy for your system to work out, but for only people with
That's like the traditional lidocaine, right? Like, that was what I grew up with. That was normal. That's slower acting.
lidocaine is something 99% of the people are easy to digest and work out of your system. Same as Skanda nest and the Sita nest. But Arctica aim is added so it works faster. But Arctica aim is something which 120 persons doesn't have the enzymes to digest and to get it out of your system. So it builds up. And when the articaine builds up, you get all those nasty side effects of heart palpitation, nerves annoyment. They did a lot of research about that. So no metal, no BPA, and articaine-free anesthesia.
Can I ask you, can you work, like, let's say you got a lot of articaine, because I know for myself, I got it once and it affected my thyroid because it went down. It's like put here and then it goes into your system. And I was a very swollen neck for a while. And then I took certain cleaning to get rid of the articaine. So is that also with chlorophyll that people could do that?
Yeah, it's difficult to get it only with chlorophyll. It's difficult. Usually you won't manage only. So you need a homeopathic doctor.
We didn't do fluoride yet.
Oh, I see. Fluoride is always the cherry on the cake because fluoride is the only thing what fluoride does good is it remineralization the teeth. So when you get a cavity or caries, you get demineralization. But the cause of demineralization is usually nutrition, too much sugar, too much eating moments, or a stressful life. So your body is giving into a sympathetic state. So it's only to storage and not to recharge and to regenerate. So demineralization is usually a cause of stress, not good nutrition, shortage of minerals. And the easy thing of fluoride, it just helps mineralize and keeps the teeth full of building blocks. And so you don't get any cavities. Getting cavities, in my opinion, is way worse because of then you always have a new filling. So I prefer everybody is as good drinking, eat 3 times a day, maybe one extra in between, brush twice a day, don't need any sugar. But some people get a lot of stress of eating correctly. So I always say keep it in the 80-20 because making you happy, making fun in the weekends, sometimes drink a glass of beer or wine, making a lot of fun with your friends puts you in the parasympathetic states and makes you regenerate again. So that's also really important. So don't be too strict because if you're being too strict, it gives you a lot of stress. And stress is the biggest issue in all places. So the fluoride is a toxic supplement, so you don't want it. You have now all kinds of hydroxyapatite. You can brush with coconut oil. You can do baking soda. There are always thousands of kinds of toothpaste. The best is without fluoride, for sure. But you need to handle your lifestyle before you brush without fluoride.
So if you do, yeah, so if you do that coconut oil, like you're talking about oil pulling, you put the coconut oil in your mouth. Could you do that, let's say, once a week or something to strengthen your teeth?
Yeah, you can do. They say you can do it daily. I don't have the time to do it daily because they say you need to do minutes. So I do. I take a spoon and do it under the shower. Spit out in paper, not in your shower or not in your because your tubing system will go fatty and you don't want that.
It does feel better, Marcia, when you do it, like I've done it. It does make your mouth feel better. So just a tablespoon for all of you listening of coconut oil in your mouth for like a few minutes. You swish and you don't swallow it and you spit in tissue.
There's a nice book about it because then you learn a lot about what's the effect of doing it. It's by Bruce Five. It's oil pulling. So then you can read the background of why oil pulling is so good. And the advantage of coconut, because you can do it with sesame oil or all kinds of oil, but the advantage of coconut oil is it has a antimicrobial working extra.
Can you just address, before we go into anything else, like I was going to ask about the radiation, care for your teeth? Like, this is something that maybe, I mean, we all know we should floss or we should,
Yeah,
but a lot of the things people floss with are plastic.
yeah,
A lot of the toothbrushes are plastic. I'm just wondering your position on that.
yeah. That's difficult because you build up a layer of bacteria of plaque during the day, and if you live stress-free, healthy lifestyle, live in the woods, only eat coconut in the morning and fish in the evening, and that's all there is to it, then you hardly need to brush your teeth. I have one client who is allergic to his own HIV medication, so he cannot take his medication, so he needs to have a really good lifestyle. And he always says, "Well, I brush really good, but I don't brush really good, but his mouth is clear as looks so good." Yeah, and this just has to do with your lifestyle. If your lifestyle is in order, stress free, um, you only eat twice a day, so it's calm in between. You don't get all the bacteria, so you don't need to brush it away. So we need to handle the life we are living in. I like Amsterdam. I like living in the middle of the city. But I know it's not totally healthy for me. So I need to brush. And the best brushes are now with plastic toothbrushes. So I always say you need to put it in the right order.
Obviously, it's better to do it than not do it because I know people who don't do it and then they get gum disease, right? It's terrible. They have inflammation.
Or you get gum disease, or you get cavities and caries, and that goes to, or losing your teeth because your gum disease is progressing so further that you're losing your teeth. There's so much inflammation. Or you get cavities, and the cavities will go so big that you need root canals treatments.
Tell me about the root canals and why you would get them.
Yeah, that's the last of the pieces which a biological dentist is one of his priorities. So we have metal-free, BPA-free, articaine-free, fluoride-free, and then root canal-free. And root canal has to do with we are the only doctors who think it's a good idea to leave dead tissue in your system. So if my pinky was dead, every doctor would immediately take it off because they were afraid of sepsis. Dus as we learned in dental school, it's good to do a root canal treatment because you can keep your teeth up there. So you have your molar, your front teeth, your teeth is there. So you can still chew, bite, smile. So it's for aesthetic reasons. And that's the functional reason. Yes, totally agree. It's good to have all your teeth because you can chew correctly, your alignment will be correctly. But what's the effect of the material we choose? Because the materials why you do a root canal treatment with are really allergic. So the sealant and the stuff they put in because the root canal is cleaning out the teeth from the inside out because the nerve and the vessels and the lymph drainage are dead. So the dead tissue is cleared out, is cleaned with the most toxic stuff you have in your house, chlorides, all those kinds of stuff. Then you close it up. And then for kind of when you do really good root canal treatment, you clean out the teeth for 80% because it's an enemy. It's an molar. It's not a straight block, so you cannot fill it straight up. So there are only tubes to the side. So there are always a little bit of left of dead tissue, which is giving mercaptan, and mercaptan is toxic for your system. And there's a lot of research about, Dr. Lechner did a lot of that research about the cytokines, the cytokines, and the interleukins, which is related to degenerative diseases, which is causing by the rest inflammation. So the last 20% of the dead tissue still there. Your body thinks, well, I don't have an acute inflammation because the acute situation is solved somehow, but there's still some left. There's just so your system makes a low-graded inflammation, so it's constant aware of there's something there, but it's not acute. There's some way of living in your body like that. But the cells which makes this low-grade inflammation, those are related to degenerative diseases.
If I hear you correctly, like you don't want to completely take out the dead tissue because the body can handle it. But in root canals, they take a lot of it out and then they leave it sort of hanging there.
Yeah, a root canal treated teeth is actually the teeth saying the cavity or whatever was going on was too much, so I'm going to die. And if we didn't do anything, your system said, well, there's dead tissue there, so I'll reject it and I'll push out the teeth and you will lose the teeth. But in dentistry, we discovered if we clean out the most of the dead tissue, so the 80% where we can reach in the inside of the tooth, then you get symptom free, so you get pain free. So your system on the outside, so your brain is thinking, well, it's okay because it's there. But if you see inside your system, there's still a stressor. There are still cytokines, it's low-grade inflammation. So is it healthy for your mouth to keep the teeth because you're still in function? Correct. But is it healthy for your whole system because the low-graded inflammation is affecting your whole system? Good to keep your root canal treat there. And as a biological dentist, they don't want root canal treated teeth because it's giving a low-graded inflammation. And the fun part of also studying acupuncture is that always when the root canal treated teeth is there at that point, you see it somewhere else in the meridian, which organ is aligned with those teeth, is the disease is developing over there in the system.
Can you treat that like as an acupuncture to keep it healthy? Like even if they had that?
Yeah, and this is the difficult part. This is why I always start with the talk of my bucket. If your bucket is big and there are not a lot of layers and there's only the root canal, then your system can handle. Then your system is strong enough to clear it out, to keep you strong, to make it happen. So it's unfortunately with a root canal, it's not one-on-one. But if your bucket is tiny and there are a lot of other stressors, then your bucket will flow over and then disease will follow up. And the disease will follow up in the frame of the meridian.
But you can help the person, even if they have a root canal, to get acupuncture.
You can do a few things. Acupuncture will guide the meridian, so will help you the degenerative disease, but will not get out the toxicity of the root canal. So in a biological way of thinking, a dead tooth is not something which needs to be in your system, so we extract the root canal treated teeth. We don't want them in. And then you have a gap, so you need to fill it up, and then you can fill it up with a bridge or a prosthesis or ceramic implantation to make your teeth as function as possible again.
That's very interesting. I understand that. That makes a lot of sense. Wow.
The root canals are the most difficult part of this profession because you learned in university so good that the root canal treated teeth is the best way to treat your clients. And in biological is the other way around.
Let's talk a little bit about X-rays. We'll go back to that. What is your opinion on that?
Well, we have a digital system now, so the X-ray you get on your body is really low as it was years before. But you miss your diagnose. you cannot do a good treatment without X-rays. Unfortunately, I don't have patients. So to do good consultation, um, you always make it personal. So if somebody has never ever has cavities or something issues, then you only make X-rays every 4 years. But if somebody keep on developing cavities, yeah, you need to check because you cannot see everything on the outside of the cavities. And if you make an implantation, you need to see how the bone is in the jaw to do a good job. So you need it. And if you fly a banana is 1.5 X-ray picture. There, the sievert, so the X-ray radiation is all over. When you fly from Amsterdam to New York, you can make 100 X-rays.
So when you fly, you get so much more radiation.
But you can wear stones, or you have homeopathic treatments. If your body has a lot of discomfort of making radiation pictures, there are some ways to treat that.
Also through homeopathy, because I've had that. I'm curious about, let's say someone manifested an illness. Let's say someone has diabetes. You mentioned that. And let's say they did, you went to their mouth and you saw a problem because when they were young, here they had had a fight and their teeth died here, but they kept them in.
What I would advise, I always say it's you as a person. I can only advise you as the best as I can do, and the things I read and the things I learn during the way, and give you some examples of how I treat people and how they recover from it. If somebody with diabetes is having a lot of issues with it, and diabetes, and you have the front tooth, you know for sure it's kidney related. Then I would say get them out, clear it out, heal.
Even though they're the front teeth.
Yeah, but we can make it nice with ceramic implantation or any other bridge or something like that. You always have really good dentists who can make that beautiful again, so nobody will notice. And guide a lot with nutrition and acupuncture, and make sure they're low graded free, because low graded inflammation is the main issue to get out your diabetes.
That's so interesting because I have done some research on the teeth. They are the hardest part of our bodies, and they have to constantly clean the mouth. They're constantly involved, like more than we realize. And when they're not good, they block the meridians like directly. And then you're like you said, each tooth goes to certain organs, and then you can have heart disease and it just, like you said, it's about the bucket. So it doesn't mean a direct, but it's an indirect influence. So, for instance, I'll give you an example. I have a lot of people I knew with breast cancer, and they found something wrong with a tooth that was blocking that meridian. And when they got holistically cared for, they got that tooth.
Yeah, well, there's research about it's not the other way around, but there's research about there are 89, no, 98% of women who are getting breast cancer have a root canal treated teeth. Not the other way around. So it's not that as if you have a root canal treated teeth, you per se get breast cancer. But it's a fun fact, not a really fun fact, but it's a fact that 98% of the people who are having breast cancer do have a root canal treated teeth.
So, what about orthodontists, like orthodontic treatments? In the past, we did metal treatments. Now they're doing more plastic treatments. Um, yeah, what is it called? Visalign or something. What is your belief, or what is a functional medicine holistic view on orthodontics?
It well, that's when we start with kids. So why you need braces? Of course, there's a little bit of genetics in there, but most of the time is because as a kid they don't know how to chew, so they get too soft food, not enough breastfeeding makes your jaw need to work really hard, um, and especially mouth breathing. If you have mouth breathing, your tongue is in your lower jaw, and your upper jaw develops like this. So your upper jaw will be tiny and small and doesn't fit to your lower jaw. Your lower jaw is usually genetics. The Bottom of your nose is then also tiny because the top of your upper jaw is the bottom of your nose. If the bottom of your nose is tiny, it's hard for you to breathe through your nose. We're coming back to the parasympathetic and the sympathetic state, but also for right developing of the jaw. So when you have the kids early, immediately start with nose breathing. Learn them as soon as possible. As you even see them with your friends, nose breathing, nose breathing, nose breathing, nose breathing. Then your tongue goes up in the upper jaw. Your nose has hairs to filter the air, so your tonsils will not be annoyed as much as they will be by breathing through your mouth. Your tongue is your best brace you can ever have, so your upper jaw will grow wide, and then you get the real cause of why you need braces. If we pass that and we're too late, then we get into the braces, and then, or I say, use ceramic brackets.
Is that normal ceramic or is it mostly plastic?
No, ceramic. That's ceramic.
Sorry, just to clarify, you mean those when you go to a normal orthodontics, they have these little, you put them on every week, those are ceramic.
Yeah, you have them in white and you have them in metal. On the one is on the metal, there's titanium nickel. You don't want that. And you have them in whites, and that's ceramics. And then you have every thread that's as less as toxic as it can be. But why you see a lot of irritable bowel syndrome of kids behind after 16, 17 is it's a stressful age. So sympathetic, parasympathetic age is you developing your hormonal level and getting friends and that kind of thing. And then the braces is with nickel is annoying your bowel system. So you cannot get out of all of your nutrition out of your system. So you get shortage. And then that combination usually triggers irritable bowel system.
And are there plastic ones, Marcia?
Yeah. So in that point of view, now they developed aligners that are the invisible braces that you wear. You put them in and out. They're BPA free, so they're developed correctly, but it's still plastics. So it's all not perfect, but this is what we have at this point. So, or I choose the ceramic braces with the ceramic brackets, or I choose the Invisaligners.
Yeah, because that is so interesting because when you grind, like, when people are very anxious, they grind their teeth. And when you get older, you can grind your teeth away, right? This can be horrible. And so then they recommend these night braces, which are not ceramic. I think they're plastic.
They are plastic. Yeah, they are plastic. So you want them for the first year after you did alignment. So you corrected your teeth. It takes up a year to put your teeth really strong into your bone again. So you need them wear at least a year after you're done with the braces. And then you need to take care of a right alignment because alignment of your teeth, so put them together on the right spot, has immediate, a tiny millimeter has effect on the rest of your system. So this is connected to your skeleton, to your hips, to your the way you walk. So there's always, when you finish up braces, you need to align the rest of your system as well. So first alignment of your skeleton, check this again and back and forth until you have the right alignment. So your system can be stress-free because otherwise you're gonna grind more and more because your system thinks, hey, it's not fitting correctly. Try to fit it a better way.
That is very interesting because I know as we get older, this is happening to more and more people. That is crazy. So I mean, I think you've answered almost all. You're amazing. I just wonder where you're going, where you see the world going, where we're obviously in an awakening. People are waking up that they're more than just their physical bodies, that they have emotions that affect them, that they're spiritual, their mental processes are powerful, and the physical does matter. We can't deny it. So I'm curious where you see the world, yourself going in this whole time, Marcia.
Well, I think it's really important. We live in this society. So I think it's important to stay in a community, to take care of your family and your friends around you. I think we as people, that's where we get our good energy from, and put on some stress to parasympathetic state as well. But I think in the Netherlands, I can talk about the Netherlands, the hospital and the GPs are over asked. They're really, really busy and they get a lot of degenerative diseases from diabetes, rheumatic arthritis, to irritable bowel system, which a lot of can be handled with lifestyle, functional medicine. See where's the real cause, and that's always something has to do with stress, function, and how you if you do exercises, if you breathe through your nose, if how your nutrition is. If somebody drinks 11 cups of coffee a day or something like that, how your family is holding, how your stress level is on work wise, on personal life. So it's not a one on one, and they don't have the time to handle it. And they are experts on acute care, on taking out an appendix when it's inflamed. They are good in immediate reaction. So I think it's really important that they get the time to do where they are good at, hopefully a little bit of knowledge to see that it's something in lifestyle which need to be guided, and that people are more aware of um, that they're it's their own, how do you say it in English? It's important to take care of your system itself. You're Yeah, you're obligated to take care of you and your spouses next to you, and to take your own responsibility. That's what I was looking for. To take your responsibility for your own health care and how you are in your community. And I still think it's really important to keep making fun. That's really, really important. Um, I just built my own functional holistic practice because I was working as a holistic dentist in a spot in Amsterdam, but only with dentistry around me. And I worked a lot with my functional nutritionist, my functional medicine doctor, with a chiropractor, with a physiotherapist, with an acupuncturist, a medical spa to help you biohack from stress out of parasympathetic state. So Institute Marie has just been built. We opened last November
Where is that, Mark?
in Amsterdam, in the middle of Amsterdam.
And people can go there to de-stress.
Yeah, you can go on the website instituutmarie.nl. And it is, I think it's really important that we add this to our normal healthcare system and hopefully get insured at some point. That's in Netherlands more important than in other lands. But my big wish is that we implement this kinds of healthcare next to the GP and next to the hospital. So it's going to be a three-legged unit instead of a two-legged unit. Because yeah, and then my dream is to have a hotel where you can take care. So when you say, I have this and I need to acupuncture and I need this, and just take me in for 2 weeks, get my nutrition on track, clear out my mouth, get balanced, and then I will implement in my real life. So that's my dream. But I think for the whole system, it would be really important that besides the GP and besides the hospital, this is necessary on a high level quality. So people don't have the feeling of I need to go there and then I need to go to a homeopathic treatment and then I need to go to acupuncturist and then so much and I need to go there, there, and there. And then they don't talk to each other. So you don't have the right treatment for it's all personal. So here we can just go to the next door and say, I need you for the nutrition for this client, and he needs to gym because we have a gym as well over here downstairs. I think that's where it needs to go.
I love that. Like, I think there have to be more and more.
I'm really passionate about my job.
Yeah, no, you're going to do it, Maartje. Keep going. I love this. I'll come support you. I certainly have a huge community here that could use those kind of services. That is so exciting. So I would love you if you can just give us all that information of your clinic. Obviously, people who want biological dentistry could contact you to come to you as a client. And you give lectures sometimes. You'll give us all that, right?
I will give you all that. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I really am grateful that I met you. I think you're amazing. I think your vision is going to be doable, actually, in this time because people need it so badly. There's so many people sick and they really need to understand where it's coming from. We want to find the root cause. And I believe you're right that the mouth, the teeth, the way we breathe, the way we live, these are all the root cause. So I really am grateful for you sharing your wisdom with our audience today. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.